Welcome to Sunday School for Sunday, September 3rd, 2023, for our senior high students. I do not own the rights to this music. Today's Bible basis is coming out of Psalms 104, verses 5 through 9, and then verses 24 through 30. The Bible Truth: God creates. The title of today's story: Creatures Great and Small. Kendra and her little brother, Drew, decided to volunteer at their local animal shelter as part of a service project for church. Both of them were very excited to spend time playing with cuddly animals and helping them find good homes. On their first day at the shelter, Kendra and Drew were shocked to learn that many animals at the shelter had been abandoned, malnourished, and abused before they ended up at the shelter. Kendra looked at some of the dogs as they crouched to the corners of their pens with mournful eyes and sad whimpers. "Why are some of the dogs so sad?" Kendra asked. Mrs. Clarkson, the shelter director, said, "Some of these poor animals were neglected and abused by their owners before they came here." Kendra's heart sank. "That's awful," she murmured. "How do we help them?" "We provide them with nutritious food, exercise, and a safe place to sleep," explained Mrs. Clarkson. "The goal is to find them safe, loving homes, but until then, they need to be loved and cared for." One particular dog, a black lab named Grace, trembled with fear and avoided Kendra every time she brought her food. Then one day, Grace cautiously approached Kendra and licked her outstretched hand. Kendra smiled. Eventually, she and Grace became buddies, and she got permission from her parents to adopt the dog into their family. The lesson scripture: Psalms 104, verses 5 through 9, then verses 24 through 30. Who laid the foundations of the earth, that it should not be removed forever? Thou coverest it with the deep as with a garment. The water stood above the mountains. At thy rebuke they fled. At the voice of thy thunder they hasted away. They go up by the mountains. They go down by the valleys, unto the place which thou hast founded for them. Thou hast set a bound that they may not pass over, that they turn not again to cover the earth. O Lord, how manifold are thy works! In wisdom hast thou made them all. The earth is full of thy riches. So is this great and wide sea, wherein are things creeping innumerable, both small and great beasts. There go the ships. There is that Leviathan, whom thou hast made to play therein. These wait all upon thee, that thou mayest give them their meat in due season. That thou givest them, they gather. Thou openest thy hand, they are filled with good. Thou hidest thy face, they are troubled. Thou takest away their breath, they die, and return to their dust. Thou sendest forth thy spirit, they are created, and thou renewest the face of the earth. Many scientists and experts argue that the world started with a big bang, or that everything originated from primordial ooze and evolved into what the world is today. However, this is not what Scripture teaches us. It says that God created everything. Not only that, but He created it by design. He fit everything together to work in harmony with one another. Nothing was randomized. Everything was organized. God focused on the details because He cares for His creation, especially us. He provides for our needs and cares for His creation. In today's story, God provided a safe home and a loving family for the dog Grace. He also provided a friend and companion for Kendra. God knew their needs and provided for them. He is providing for people in ways we don't even realize. Sometimes we think God isn't providing for us. because times get hard or we don't get what we think we need. But He knows exactly what we need. We should pause and take time to recognize all the ways God has provided and continues to provide for us, and then thank Him for all He has done. Students' responses. These are the questions for today's story. Question 1. How was the animal shelter different from what Kendra had expected? Question 2. Why were food and shelter not enough for Grace and some of the other animals? Question 3. How should we treat God's creatures, great and small? Questions from our lesson scripture. Question 1. What verbs are used to describe how God created the earth? Make sure to search the scriptures. Question 2. How would you describe God's involvement with the creation of the earth? Question 3. How did God make creation? Question 4. Describe God's relationship with His creation. And question 5. What does today's lesson scripture tell us about God's involvement in our own lives? How should we treat God's creation, people, animals, nature, etc.? Select a volunteer activity to take care of God's creation. This can be done individually or as a class. You can volunteer at an animal shelter, like Kendra did in today's story, or you can spend the day cleaning up a local park. Some other ideas include hosting a bake sale to support a local charity or helping at a food pantry. The possibilities are endless. The goal is to help provide for others and take care of God's creation. After the activity, post about it on your Facebook page or write about your experience. The memory verse for today's lesson. O Lord, how manifold are thy works! In wisdom hast thou made them all. The earth is full of thy riches. And that's Psalms 104, verse 24. The end. God bless you and thank you for joining me today.